Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Stapakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namaha Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate, who came to establish religion universal. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been studying Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. He has given number of spiritual instructions for the spiritual seekers. The point is, we must make an effort. That is the bottom line. Today's topic I have chosen: attachment clouds mind. It's all known to everyone. But we need to know how it obstructs our view about God. Attachment is one of the major obstructions in the spiritual path. There will be attachment, no doubt, as long as we are dealing in this world. But there is certain limit for that. If you cross that limit, attachment brings misery. Sri Ramakrishna asked Pratap, one of the devotees, "You have been to England. Tell us what you saw there." Pratap said, "The English people worship what you call gold. Of course, there are also some good people in England, those who live an unattached life. But generally, one finds a great display of rajas in everything. I saw," Pratap is telling to Ramakrishna, "I saw same thing in America. Recently, I think today, I read the news. The population of millennials is increasing in America. It's a good news, no doubt. But how far it brings some peace and happiness, that's a different question." When Pratap answered Sri Ramakrishna's question, what he saw in England, as well in America too, Sri Ramakrishna remarked, well, it is not in England alone that one sees attachment to worldly things. You see it everywhere. What a fine observation. But remember, that work is only the first step in spiritual life. God cannot be realized without sattva, love. Discrimination, kindness, and so on. These virtues we have to cultivate. That's the meaning of Sri Ramakrishna telling this point. It is the very nature of Rajas to involve a person in many worldly activities. That is why Rajas, if it crosses its limit, it degenerates into tamas. Instead of rising up to sattva, it drops down to tamasic state. If a person is entangled in too many activities, the clear-cut result is, Sri Ramakrishna's word, he surely forgets God. He doesn't need God. Put it that way. Why God? I am earning money, I am paying the bills, I am working, so I am getting money. Why should we bring God here? We want to be secular. But with this secularistic attitude, people are suffering, not that they have overcome suffering. You need divine help to get over suffering. Further, Sri Ramakrishna says, but it is not possible for you to give up work altogether. Your very nature will lead you to it, whether you like it or not. Therefore, what's the way? The way has been shown by the scriptures. Work you have to do undoubtedly, but do it in a detached spirit. That's to say, not to crave the work's results. Concentrate upon doing the work, then leave the result to the divine Lord. For example, you may perform devotions and worship and practice austerities, but your aim is not to earn people's recognition or to increase your merit. It's not that people should recognize you as a yogi and you have to be marrying in that notion. The people have recognized me as a yogi. That sort of advertising attitude should not be there for a real spiritual seeker. To work in such a spirit of detachment is known as karma yoga. But it is very difficult. These are Sri Ramakrishna's words. Karma yoga, don't think easy. It is confirmed it is difficult. Not only difficult, very difficult. Why? Sri Ramakrishna again answers this question. We are living in the Kali Yuga. When one easily becomes attached to one's actions. Attachment is a culprit. Please note that. Don't simply hide the fact. You may think you are working in a detached spirit, but attachment creeps into the mind from nobody knows where. You may worship in the temple, or arrange a grand religious festival, or feed many poor and starving people. You may think you have done all this without hankering after the results. But unknown to yourself, the desire for name and fame has somehow crept into your mind. Instead of becoming humble, you tend to become highly dangerous, egotistic person. Complete detachment from the results of action is possible only for one who has seen God. So, complete detachment may not be possible at the outset. You have to keep on struggling. You must be always aware of the forewarning given by Sri Ramakrishna. A spiritually ignorant person is not necessarily a spiritually ignorant person is not necessarily an illiterate or uneducated. Being immersed in various attachments, by clinging to cravings, by clinging to passions, by clinging to pleasure-seeking, evil ways, fears, worries, doubts of the future, and regrets of the past, and so on. The majority of us are spiritually ignorant, overtaken by the deluded consciousness. We take the fleeting world and its gross objects to be real. Also, we take ourselves to be the limited body and its egotistical experiences, and we think the ultimate goal of life is what? To eat, drink, and be merry. Being thus deep-rooted in sin, we do not see the need for taking on spirituality in our lives. In such delight of materialistic mentality, we get carried away by worldly acclaim. What is that? We measure our achievement by the amount of money, property, material possessions, power, name, fame, titles, lifestyle, position, and social status. A spiritual being, on the other hand, measures his achievement by the amount of detachment he has from money, property, material possessions, power, fame, etc., as well as the degree of absorption he has in the Atman. Unconditioned consciousness, truth, etc. We can clearly see how attachment holds one's mind down and creates his elusive personality. There are two major instances which I am going to tell you now. The two human manifestations of God as Sri Ramchandra and Sri Krishna offer very interesting comparisons and contrasts, which commentators and scholars utilize to highlight the distinguishing features of their descents in the world. One such is the nature of the Lord's fathers. Rama was born to Dashrath. When he was advanced in age after he performed a sacrifice to beget him, his joy knew no bounds because he had been childless for long. Dashrath could get Sri Ramchandra as his son after a long time, with great difficulty, after performing Putrakameshti Yaga done by great rishis, Vasishtha Maharishi and others. So you can imagine, after many years and years, almost he had lost hope, thinking that he may get children by the another lady he married second time. He could not get again third time he married. 3 wives he had, Kausalya, Sumitra, Kaikeyi. He was almost on the verge of losing hope of getting progeny. But then, divine will, he got it. So, we can imagine what tremendous joy Dashrath was feeling, seeing his children, Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrugna. Of them, Sri Ramchandra's personality was overwhelming. So, he became deeply attached to his eldest son Ram. He just delighted in just being in Rama's presence and beholding him. He can't be without Rama. Well, Dashratha's case was exceptional in that Sri Ramchandra was the very incarnation of the Supreme Being, the repository of all the auspicious qualities that a human being could possibly possess, the very epitome of virtue, Sri Ramchandra. Now take the instance of Krishna, Vasudeva, who was also singularly blessed in that the Lord chose to be born in his Krishna incarnation as his son. And what a rare privilege he granted him and Devaki by manifesting in his divine form at birth. But Vasudeva could not enjoy his company for long, as Sri Krishna directed him to take him to his foster parents Nanda Gopa and Yashoda across the Jamuna. Taking it as divine command, Vasudeva did as directed without allowing his attachment to cloud his mind. That's very important. But in Dashratha's case, he allowed his affection for Rama to overrule his judgment, which can be seen in the context of sage Vishwamitra's request to send Sri Rama with him to the forest. When Vishwamitra arrived at his palace, Dasharatha extended his hospitality graciously and did not wait for the sage to express the purpose of his visit, volunteering instead to fulfill whatever he desired. He promised him without knowing what Vishwamitra wanted, even before knowing what Vishwamitra, for what purpose he had come. Vishwamitra was all-knowing sage, and he desired to be instrumental in bringing about the marriage of the Lord and the Divine Mother in their manifestations as Sri Rama and Sita. But he used the pretext of seeking Dasharatha's help by allowing Ram to accompany him to protect his yajna. He said, terrible Rakshasas are constantly troubling. They are not allowing to complete the yajna. It's a great hindrance. So, I am urgently in need of Sri Ramchandra. As soon as he heard this, what happened to Dasharatha? He swooned. The moment the sage mouthed his request. To him, Rama was but a youth. And how could he be a match for the Rakshasas? The sage was furious that the king had gone back on his word, and finally it was with Vasishta's intervention that the king saw reason and agreed to send Ram. Personal attachments cloud our objectivity and our sense of dharma. Wrong actions and much heartache are the results. The more the attachment, the more the pain and suffering. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, Arjuna says to Krishna, Tasman arha vayam hantum dhartarashtran swabandhavan swajanam hi katam hatva sukinasyama madhava. O Lord, Krishna, we should not kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, our own relatives. For how can we be happy by killing our own people? By using our relatives and our own people, Arjuna shows how his attachments make him agitated. The mind wandering into the future through its hopes and into the past through its egoistic memory saps an individual's freshness. This denies peace of the individual. Acharya Shankar very beautifully describes the nature of the mind in Vivekananda. Sushuptikale panasi praline naivasti kinchit sakala prasiddhehe ato manakalpita eva pumsaha samsara etasya na vastutosti. In a state of deep sleep, the mind is absent, absorbed in its causal state. Nothing exists. Everything is a creation of the mind. Vayuna niyate megha Punastenaiva niyate manasa kalpayate bandho mokshastenaiva kalpayate. Again Shankara says, as the wind creates and destroys the clouds, so too does the mind create and destroy this bondage. Dehadi sarva vishaye parikalpya ragam badhnati tena purusham pashavadgunena vairasya matra vishavat suvidhaya paschadenam vimochayati tanmana eva bandhat. The mind binds the Purush by the gunas, by creating attachment to the body and the objects of the senses, just as an animal is bound by a rope. By creating non-attachment, the mind frees the Purusha. Think of objects as poison and you are free. Think of them as nectar and you are bound. Tasman manak karanamasya jantor bandhasya mokshasya cha va vidhane bandhasya hetur malinam rajogunair mokshasya shuddham virajas tamasyam virajas tamaskam. The mind can bind and free anyone. The quality of rajas binds and sattva, free from rajas and tamas, liberates. Sattva has the quality of getting liberation. Viveka vairagya gunatireka shuddhatva masadya mano vimuktyai bhavatyato buddhimato mumuksho stabhyam dridabhyam bhavitavyam agre. The mind has to be purified in order to lead you towards liberation. In order to get rid of bondage, it has to be purified. How? By Viveka and Vairagya. Discrimination and dispassion. Detachment. When that is done, one becomes free for liberation. Therefore, one longing for mukti should acquire these two qualities. Viveka, Vairagya. Manonama mahavyagro vishayaranya bhumishu saratyatra nagachantu sadhavo ye mumukshavaha. Again Shankara says, he compares the mind to a tiger. The mind is like a tiger wandering in the forest, which is the world of sense objects. That should be avoided by one seeking liberation. Manaprasute vishayana sheshan sthulatmana sukshmataya cha bhoktuhu sharira varnashrama jati vedan gunakriya hetupalani nityam. The mind produces different types of sense objects for the enjoyer: body, color, caste, status, qualities, actions and results. Asangachidrupamumam vimohya dehendriya prana gunair nibadhya aham mameti brahmayat tyatasram manas swakrityeshu palopabhuktishu. All these do not touch the consciousness. Yet the mind deludes the consciousness into the belief that he is the enjoyer. The feeling of I, me and I am. Repeated delusion means repeated enjoyment or suffering. Adhyasa doshat purushasya samsriti adhyasa bandhastva munaiva kalpitaha radastamo doshavato vivekino janmadi dukkasya nidanametat. The mind creates the identification of the soul with the body and creates its bondage. The sattva quality prevents the mind from creating such bondage. Ataha prahurmano vidyam panditas tattvadarshinaha yenaiva brahmyate vishvam vayuneva brahmandalam. The sages who know consider the mind as the cause of all ignorance, which drives the universe as the wind drives the clouds. Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, there are 4 classes of human beings: the bound, those aspiring for liberation, the liberated, and the ever perfect. Sri Ramakrishna gives the simile. This whole world is like a fishing net. People are the fish, and God, whose Maya has created this world, is the fisherman. When the fish are entangled in the net, some of them try to tear through its meshes in order to get their liberation. They are like the men striving after liberation. But by no means all of them escape. Only a few jump out of the net with a loud splash, and then people say, "Oh, there goes a big one." In like manner, 3 or 4 men attain liberation. Again, some fish are so careful by nature that they are never caught in the net. Some beings of the ever-perfect class, like Narad, are never entangled in the meshes of worldliness. Most of the fish are trapped, but they are not conscious of the net and of their imminent death. No sooner are they entangled than they run headlong, net and tail, trying to hide themselves in the mud. They don't make the least effort to get free. On the contrary, they go deeper and deeper into the mud. These fish are like the bound men. They are still inside the net, but they think they are quite safe there. Wonderful. Nice world. We have to enjoy before we get old age. A bound creature is immersed in worldliness, in lust and gold. Having gone deep into the mire of degradation, but still he believes he is quite happy and secure. That is a great illusion. The liberated and the seekers after liberation look on the world as a deep well. They do not enjoy it. Therefore, after the attainment of knowledge, the realization of God, some give up their bodies. But such a thing is rare indeed. But worldly-minded people are given warnings, but they forget their lessons. Sri Ramakrishna says, the bound creatures entangled in worldliness will not come to their senses at all. They suffer so much misery and agony. They have so many dangers, and yet they will not wake up. The camel loves to eat thorny bushes. The more it eats the thorns, the more the blood gushes from its mouth. Still it must eat thorny plants and will never give them up. the man of worldly nature, suffers so much sorrow and affliction, but he forgets all in a few days and begins his old life over again. Suppose a man has lost his wife or she has turned unfaithful. Lo, he marries again. Or take the instance of a mother. Her son dies and she suffers bitter grief, but after a few days she forgets all about it. The mother, so overwhelmed with sorrow a few days before, now attends to her toilet and puts on her jewelry. A father becomes bankrupt through the marriage of his daughters, yet he goes on having children year after year. People are ruined by litigation, yet they go to court all the same. There are men who cannot feed the children they have, who cannot clothe them or provide decent shelter for them, yet they have more children every year. These are all the words of Sri Ramakrishna. Again, the worldly man is like a snake trying to swallow a mole. The snake can neither swallow the mole nor give it up. The bound soul may have realized that there is no substance to the world, that the world is like a hog plum, only stone and skin, but still he cannot give it up and turn his mind to God. Sri Ramakrishna said, I once met a relative of Keshav Chandra Sen, 50 years old. He was playing cards, as if the time had not yet come for him to think of God. There is another characteristic of the bound soul. If you remove him from his worldly surroundings to a spiritual environment, he will pine away. The worm that grows in filth feels very happy there. It thrives in filth. It will die if you put it in a pot of rice. Vivekananda Goswami asked, Master, what must be the bound soul's condition of mind be in order to achieve liberation? Sri Ramakrishna replied, he can free himself from attachment to lust and gold if by the grace of God he cultivates a spirit of strong renunciation. What is a strong renunciation? One who has only a mild spirit of renunciation says, well, all will happen in the course of time. Let me now simply repeat the name of God. But a man possessed of a strong spirit of renunciation feels restless for God, as a mother feels for her own child. A man of strong renunciation seeks nothing but God. He regards the world as a deep well and feels as if he were going to be drowned in it. He looks on his relatives as venomous snakes. He wants to fly away from them. And he does go away. He never thinks, let me first make some arrangement for my family and then I shall think of God. He has great inward resolution. Let me tell you a story about strong renunciation. Sri Ramakrishna nicely puts spiritual ideas through anecdotes and similes. At one time there was a drought in a certain part of the country. The farmers began to cut long channels to bring water to their fields. One farmer was stubbornly determined. He took a vow that he would not stop digging until the channel connected his field with the river. He set to work. The time came for his bath, and his wife sent their daughter to him with oil. Father, said the girl, it is already late. Rub your body with oil and take your bath. Go away, thundered the farmer. I have too much to do now. It was past midday, and the farmer was still at work in his field. He didn't even think of his bath. Then his wife came and said, Why haven't you taken your bath? The food is getting cold. You overdo everything. You can finish the rest tomorrow or even today after dinner. The farmer scolded her furiously and ran at her, spade in hand, crying, "What? Have you no sense? There is no rain. The crops are dying. What will the children eat? You will all have to starve to death. I have taken a vow not to think of bath and food today before I bring water to my field." The wife saw his state of mind and ran away in fear. Through a whole day's back-breaking labor, the farmer managed by evening to connect his field with the river. Then he sat down and watched the water flowing into his field with murmuring sound. His mind was filled with peace and joy. He went home, called his wife very gently, and said to her, "Now please give me some oil and prepare me a smoke." With a serene mind he finished his bath and meal and retired to bed, where he snored to his heart's content. The determination he showed is an example of strong renunciation. Now, there was another farmer who was also digging a channel to bring water to his field. There also his wife came to the field and said to him, "It's very late, come home. It's not necessary to overdo things." The farmer did not protest much, but put aside his spade and said to his wife, "Well, I will go home, and since you asked me to." All laugh. That man never succeeded in irrigating his field. This is a case of mild renunciation. As without strong determination, the farmer cannot bring water to his field, so also without intense yearning, a man cannot realize God. Then he asked Vijay, "Well, Vijay, why don't you come here now as frequently as before?" Vijay said, "Sir, I wish to very much, but I am not free. I have accepted work in the Brahma Samaj." What is it that really creates bondage? Sri Ramakrishna answers that. It is lust and gold that binds man and robs him of his freedom. It is woman that creates the need for gold. For woman, one man becomes the slave of another and so loses his freedom. Then he cannot act as he likes. The priests in the temple of Govindji at Jaipur were celibates at first. And at that time they had fiery natures. Once the king of Jaipur sent for them, but they didn't obey him. They said to the messenger, ask the king to come to see us." That is the power of celibacy. After consultation, the king and his ministers arranged marriages for them. From then on, the king didn't have to send for them. They would come to him of themselves and say, "Your Majesty, we have come with our blessings. Here are the sacred flowers of the temple. Accept them." They came to the palace, for now they always wanted money for one thing or another. The building of a house, the race-taking ceremony of the babies, or rituals connected with the beginning of the children's education, and so on and so forth. So, the bottom line of today's topic is attachment clouds mind. That's all. Understand it properly. Try to be non-attached. Be attached to God. Attachment to God is not considered as attachment in the worldly sense. It is used in the worldly sense. Attachment to God releases you from the attachment to the world. That means attachment to God liberates you from bondage. Attachment to the world clouds your mind and obstructs liberation. Let us try to follow Sri Ramakrishna's teachings and be practical in our practices, cultivate good qualities, virtues in life. We are propelled by our samskaras. Please note that. Every life we are knowingly or unknowingly creating impressions. What type of impressions you create, that you should be watchful. Really watchful. If you are really aspiring for spiritual life, try to cultivate spiritual samskaras. Cleaning the mind all the time, keeping the mind clean. Consciously. Must cultivate the love of God. Sri Ramakrishna says, in this Kali Yuga, no other yoga is possible. Point blank he has told. People may talk, I want to be Raj Yogi, I want this yogi. All in words only, not in reality. Sri Ramakrishna said, in this modern age, Kali Yuga, only yoga that is possible, if at all, is Bhakti Yoga. Period. Page 982. Well, X is so modest and humble, he is totally self-effacing. Can you tell me how I can develop humility? M said, speaking about your ego, the master said, whose ego is it? Narendra, what did he mean? M said, a friend one day said to Radhika, you are egotistic. That's why you insulted Krishna. Whereupon another friend said to the first, yes, Radhika is egotistic, no doubt. But whose ego is it? What she meant was that Radha was egotistic because she regarded Krishna as her Lord. It is Krishna himself who kept that ego in Radha. What the master meant was that it is God alone who has kept this ego in you so that he may accomplish many things through you. Narendra said, but my ego loudly proclaims to all that I have no suffering. M said smilingly, you may loudly proclaim it if that be your sweet will. The conversation turned to other devotees. Narendra said, the master said about Vijay Goswami, he is knocking at the door. M said, that is to say, he has not yet entered the room. At Shampakor, Vijaya said to the master, I saw you at Dhaka in this tangible form, in this very body. You are there too. Narendra said, Devendra Babu and Ram Babu want to renounce the world. They are trying hard. Ram Babu told me privately that he would give up the world after 2 years. M said, after 2 years? After making provision for his children? Narendra said, besides, he will rent his present house and buy a small house. Other relatives will arrange his daughter's marriage. M said, Gopal is in an exalted state of mind, isn't he? Gopal referred to Nitya Gopal. Narendra said, what do you mean? M said, so much emotion, so much weeping and such exaltation in the name of God. Narendra said, does mere emotion make a man spiritually great? Youngsters like Kali, Sharat, Shashi and Sharada are more spiritual than Gopal. How great their renunciation is, Gopal doesn't accept the master, does he? M said, that's true. The master remarked that Gopal did not belong to the circle of his devotees. But I saw him show great reverence for Sri Ramakrishna. Narendra said, what did you see? M said, at that time I was just becoming acquainted with Sri Ramakrishna. One day after the meeting of the devotees in his room had broken up, I came out and saw Gopal on the footpath, kneeling with folded hands before the master. The moon was shining brightly overhead. It was a red path sprinkled with brick dust. Just outside the long veranda north of the master's room. Nobody else was there. It appeared to me that Gopal had taken shelter at Sri Ramakrishna's feet and the master was encouraging him. Narendra said, I didn't see it. Yam said, further, the master used to say, Gopal is in the state of a Paramahamsa. But I also distinctly remember his forbidding Gopal to be intimate with women devotees. Many a time he warned him about it. Narendra said, speaking to me about Gopal, the master asked, why, if Gopal was a real Paramahamsa, he should hanker after money? He doesn't belong to this place, the master said. Those who are my own will always come here. He used to be angry with tea because he was Gopal's constant companion and didn't come to the master more often. Gopal has spiritual realizations, no doubt, the master said to me, but he has attained them all of a sudden without the necessary preparations. He is not one of my own. If he is, why haven't I wept for him? Some are proclaiming Gopal as a reincarnation of Nityananda. But times without number, the master said to me, in me alone are embodied Advaita, Chaitanya, and Nityananda. I am all these three. We shall stop here. Any questions, Sanchit Kumar? How to get admission in the school? Pray to Sri Ramakrishna, you will get. Any questions? Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. Own name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self, drowned deep in the waves of his bliss, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like a tree, take no honor to thyself, give honor to all, chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, Do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.